one of the most exciting aspects of the commercial spaceflight industry is the rapid pace of innovation and technology as companies work to develop solutions for the continuously evolving commercial space economy. Horizontal takeoff and landing for space vehicles is a great example of that, and is a capability that Colorado Air and Spaceport is focused on supporting. Frank, the AstroClipper vehicle that Exodus Space Corporation is developing, is being designed as a horizontal launch and landing space plane that's going to transport passengers and cargo, to low Earth orbit. Can you tell us how vehicles like the AstroClipper can support commercial space industry growth by offering horizontal takeoff and landing? And what makes Colorado and Colorado Air and Spaceport an attractive site for developing that vehicle and your business product?
Well, you know, space planes are not a new concept. They've been around for a while. We were talking about this earlier, since we're both in the space planes. And when I think of space planes originally, I think of the space shuttle. But when we look at the space shuttle, we still look at the space shuttle landing horizontally, but it still takes off vertically. And when you look at the vertical rockets today, 95% still take off vertically. And when I look at that, or when we look at that, it's not a bad thing. I don't want to say it's a bad thing over here. But we've learned a lot of lessons from that, and we learned that, you know, it's not a good, sustainable model in the future. So when we look at the AstroClipper, we look at some of the benefits that the AstroClipper from horizontal, you know, takeoff and landing might bring. You know, number one, it's fully reusable. When you look at vertical launchers, there tend to be some leftovers at the bottom of the ocean. There tends to be some space debris from them as well. So again, we want to make sure that there's a fully reusable component here. But we also look at the fact that with the horizontal launcher, we can actually take off and take cargo up, but we can also bring cargo back down. You don't see that a lot with the vertical launchers in this case. For that makes sense for us economically. Every mission, we know we can go up, bring some stuff down. That just makes good business sense. You know, but I look at the last piece, and I think it comes back to frequency. You know, one of the things that we want to see in the future is how do we equate space planes to what we see in the aviation industry? You know, how many flights are there that go from Denver to Los Angeles over a month? Well, how many launches can we do from Colorado to low Earth orbit in a month? So we want to get to a point where we can see that frequency to help bring that cost down. And again, when we look at all these benefits, we always look and say, how does this lead to affordability back to our customers? Because that's the key here. How do we make this affordable? Because in our opinion, the more that you make space affordable, the more you have access to space, okay? And not just for cargo, but for everyone. The more we can access space frequently as an industry, the more we see growth. The more growth we see, the more we see that space economy grow. And overall, that just benefits everyone, in our opinion. Now, to follow up on your second question, Colorado.
Yeah, what aspects of Colorado and Colorado Air and Spaceport can be helpful to you as you do that?
You know, we have our offices here in Littleton, and it just makes sense for us. Number one, every spaceport needs a space plane, and in this case, space planes. You know, you've done a great job of attracting not just Exodus, but other space planes as well, which is the goal overall. But for us, I think there's a couple pieces here. Number one, our suppliers are here. And that plays a big role for us on the technology side when we need to be able to have that face-to-face. Two, our focus is on the satellite industry, and when you look at Colorado, there's over, 400 companies, I think, that are in space or support space, and that's huge. And that's a great company to be in, and when we look at that, we look at a lot of our clients here as well in the satellite industry. And I think third is talent, being able to have access to that talent. But I also think that when we look at this, we know that we're going to attract talent from outside the state. And what better way to convince a family to come to Colorado than just showing them a picture of Colorado or talking about the lifestyle here in Colorado? Those are important factors when families think about relocating, and we think that's a very big factor for us. Now, when it comes to the spaceport, again, it goes back to the fact that it's frequency and location. One of the ideas we have is vehicle launch on demand. We know that some of the satellite companies might need to get a satellite up quickly. So instead of having to ship it to California, Florida, why not just ship it down the road here at the spaceport? And that makes sense for us.
That sounds really good. Yes. And you touched on, Frank, you know, the fact that Colorado has this incredible aerospace economy. We are #1 in the US for private aerospace workers per capita. And one of the other reasons why Colorado's aerospace industry is so strong is because we have this very robust mix of smaller entrepreneurial space companies and large prime contractors who work together to collaborate on the nation's major space projects. And it's an ecosystem that requires both to survive and thrive.